What's up? What's up? Welcome to the Funny Truth. Yeah, where the truth has never been so funny. I'm your host of the moment, DJ PJ, bringing the laughter like never before. But how you feeling this Friday morning? I hope you're healthy and happy to be alive. As I always say, if you're listening to the show right now, you are blessed and lucky to be alive. And if there's anyone in your family who has fallen sick, we pray for their speedy recoveries in God's name. So, today's topic is about valuing family or the value of family. And why I chose this topic today, many don't seem to realize how lucky they are to still have a complete, loving family, especially at times like these. Family, I'm afraid to say, falls under the most valuable gift you can have in your life. And many of the times we take this for granted. But before we discuss more about the value of family, let's go listen to a hot jam because Christ music is hot music.
Active FM.
Active FM.
Active FM.
Active FM. Radio has never been better.
I can see through the blinding rain that stings against my broken skin. My voice is dry from crying out so long. I can only sing this song. Will you hide me in your shadow? Will you hide me in your grace? Let me warm around your fire. Let me rest in your embrace. Know that you are with me in this torn and tattered boat. You're the one that's keeping me afloat. Storm clouds and darkness gather over it. Through the flashes of lightning I see your face. Will you hide me in your shadow? Will you hide me in your grace? Let me warm around your fire. Let me rest in your embrace.
Welcome back from that awesome jam. I know you enjoyed it because I loved it, guys. Hit my soul like never before. So now, as usual, before we go on to talking about the value of family, I'm just gonna hit on some jokes about family, you know. So we'll need a therapist. This is joke number 1. To save money, I suggested to one of my grown sons that we all live together in one house. I could tell he didn't think it would be cost effective when he asked, who's going to pay the therapist? A fly killer's pickle. My 3-year-old daughter stuck out her hand and said, look at the fly I killed, mommy. Since she was eating a juicy pickle at the time, I thrust her contaminated hands under the faucet and washed them with antibacterial soap. After sitting her down to finish her pickle, I asked, with a touch of awe, how did you kill that fly all by yourself? Between bites, she said, I will hit it with my pickle. Don't step on the clean floor. A woman shoots her husband for stepping on the clean floor. A police officer jumps into a squad car and calls the station. I have an interesting case here, he says. A woman shot her husband for stepping on the floor she just mopped. Have you arrested her? Asked the sergeant. No, not yet. The floor's still wet. My grandson is a smart egg. At the mall, my 5-year-old grandson joined the other children in the line waiting to sit on the Easter Bunny's lap. When it was his turn, Jake didn't move. He just stared. Don't you want to sit on the Bunny's lap? I asked. No, he shouted. There's a man in his mouth. Bonnie McLaren on a key to a good marriage. I once gave my husband the silent treatment for an entire week, at the end of which he declared, hey, we're getting along pretty great lately. My kids don't know what I do. I've been working on my PhD in engineering for the past 5 years, but my kids don't necessarily see that as work. As we are driving past Walmart one day, my son spotted a now hiring sign and suggested that I could get a job there. Hoping to make a point, I asked, do you think they're looking for an engineer? Oh sure, he said, they'll hire anybody. Married to the job. I guess this is what happens after you've worked at the same place for a while. I was eating at a fast food restaurant when an employee began his shift by walking into the kitchen area and calling out, honey, I'm home. When relatives attack. There's no more awkward than the moment you realize you're getting a double cheek kiss. Very true. When Siri slips. After messaging back and forth with my wife, I jokingly commanded Siri to pass along this message. You need to go back to work now. You have a husband to support. Here's what Siri sent. You have to get back to work now. You have a husband to support. Brother Singh. I'm driving with this guy and he runs right through a stop sign. So I say, hey, that was a stop sign. And he says, I drive like my brother. A few blocks later, he plows right through a red light. I say, you just ran a red light, and he says, I drive like my brother. So now we're coming up on a green light, and he slows down. I'm confused, so I say, it's green, why are you slowing down? He says, my brother might be coming. Let's call the whole thing off. My 5-year-old Matt worked with a speech therapist on the chi sound, which came out K. The therapist asked him to say chicken. He responded with kitchen. They tried again and again, but it always came out kitchen. Undeterred, she pushed him for one more try. Matt sighed and said, why don't we just call it a duck? I put so much effort into naming my first Wi-Fi than my first child. What? David Letterman on Halloween. Halloween is the beginning of the holiday shopping season. That's for women. The beginning of the holiday shopping season for men is Christmas Eve. A trashy career. Has your son decided what he wants to be when he grows up? I asked my friend. He wants to be a garbage man, he replied. That's an unusual ambition to have at such a young age. Not really. He thinks that garbage men work only on Tuesdays. Lou Snyder on sunblock. We use a really strong sunblock when we go to the beach with our kids. It's SPF 80, you need to squeeze the tube and a sweater comes out. A teenage dream. My 11-year-old grandson spent a beautiful Saturday playing video games. His older sister tried coaxing him outside by warning, someday you're gonna be 30 years old, single and living in mom's basement playing video games all day. His reply, I can only dream. My first job. I got my first full-time job, but I could have sworn I was making more money in college, working for my parents as their daughter. Terrible 200. Hanging up my 90-year-old mother, I sighed, then said my 90 6-year-old uncle. She's so stubborn. He shook his head sympathetically and warned, "You're gonna have trouble with her when she gets old." A Scottish mother visits her son in New York City apartments and asks, "How do you find the Americans, Donald?" Mother says, "Donald, they're such noisy people. One neighbor won't stop banging his head against the wall while the other screams and screams all night long. Oh, Donald, how did you manage to put up with them?" "What can I do? I just lie in bed quietly, playing my bagpipes." Parenting phase according to The Onion. The last parenting phase according to The Onion. Couples are watching to announce their pregnancy after their child has graduated college and become a partner in a successful law firm. Parents are choosing not to learn the gender of the obstetrician. As part of the new infinity womb trend, women are using a wide range of lemmas, strength training, and yoga techniques to forcefully prevent their children from ever leaving their homes, forever protecting them from the harsh realities of the world. At Bill Murray on child naming. The cool part about naming your child is you don't have to add 6 numbers to make sure the name is available. Refresh, refresh, refresh. The water I was heating for pasta refused to boil. And if my 12-year-old was white, I wasn't helping by constantly checking on it. It's like the old saying he said, "A washed website never loads." Poor little pig. My young son ran to me, crying, "Dad, I stubbed my toe. He's sober. Let me kiss it and make it better." I said, "Which toe was it? The one that has no roast beef?" Believe me, I would if I could. My 3-year-old sat in the bathroom with me, watching as I removed my dentures and brushed them. After a few minutes, he asked, "Can I take your ears off too?" That's not how it works, Dad. Dad really dresses up, so when he left the bedroom, decked out in a suit and tie, he wanted to commemorate the moment, handing me a camera. He asked, "Mind taking a selfie of me?" Toddler wisdom. Events had left my son-in-law's sister feeling sad, and she started tearing up. Luckily, our 2-year-old grandson was nearby to dispense words of wisdom. "Don't cry," he said. "Sometimes batteries die and toys break." Family loophole. To get my cousin to write her even once, my aunt resorted to sending him a check with this note: "Do not cash until you write me a thank you." A few weeks later, the check had cleared, yet no message has arrived. So she called him. "I told you not to cash the check until you've written to thank me," she complained. "I didn't cash the check," he said. "I deposited it." Where there's a will, there's a relative. Can I do a trade? I asked my brother-in-law, the father of 4 boys, if he had to do all over again, would he still have kids? "Yes," he said, "just not these 4. You could have said gender. I was 9 months pregnant and browsing at a garage sale when the homeowner asked me if I knew whether I was having a boy or girl. I told her I didn't. As I left a few minutes later, she yelled after me, "I hope you get the sex you want." Which she could have just said gender instead of sex. Bottom of the toy barrel. Here's the best ever backhanded compliment from a kid about a present. "Dear Genie, thanks for the toy. I'll play with it when I'm bored." Kids marry the darnedest things. My young son declared, "When I grow up, I'm going to marry you." "Mommy, you can't marry your own mother," said his older sister. "Then I'll marry you." "You can't marry me either." He looks confused. So I explained, "You can't marry someone in your own family." "You mean I have to marry a total stranger?" He cried. When I was a boy of 14, my father was so arrogant, I could hardly stand to have the old man around. But when I got to be 21, I was astonished at how much the old man had learned in 7 years. Father's Day is so important because, besides the day on which we honor Dad, is one day of the year that Brookstone does not do any business. I gave my dad $100. And said, "Buy yourself something that will make your life easier." So he went out and bought a present for my mother. I was only breaking the law a little. My daughter-in-law was driving on the freeway when the sight of a flashing light in a rearview mirror made her pull over. "Do you know why I stopped you?" asked the state trooper. "You were going 85 miles per hour. "Impossible," she argued. "I had to cruise control set at 82. So that was it from some family jokes from mother, sister, father, son. And yeah, it's a time, guys. Go tell your family some jokes. I always say this, you gotta keep the fear out of their brains, and the only way to do that is to keep their brain refreshed with new things, make them laugh, make them feel like they're being loved again. And this is the section where I normally go deep and personal when you're talking about my topics. So now we are talking about the topic of the day, which is value your family, or like the value of family. Because guys, how many people out there value the family? I can tell you that most of the homeless people living on the street, people who have like drug problems, a lot of it is because of family. The family makes you or breaks you at the end of the day. And the value of family is so important to your life that you would not believe it. Like on the wheel, it's so important that you won't believe it. Because as you're being raised, everything you learn as you're being raised, these are memories that will stick with you. Any situation that happens, this will stick with you. And the only way to get through it is through God. Honestly, it's through God. Because if you go to God and there's something wrong in your family, the only way to save that thing in your family is through God. Because you cannot do it on your own, especially as a young person in your family. Even as an older person, you gotta go through God and ask Him a way. Because at the end of the day, He knows what exactly is the problem, and He knows how to fix it. And the only way to fix it is if the family is not living under His word. So now going into this topic, family is such a big role in my life, because everything I've done is because of family. Every single thing I've done is literally because of family. The good things, some of the bad things too. Because I grew up nice, but it wasn't nice the whole way. The part got rough, and then it went smooth again. So where it got rough, it did affect me. Obviously, because as a kid, what happens in the family is going to affect you at the end of the day. But then, the great thing about it is that I realized that the value of family is so much that you will not believe it. It's so much that you will not believe it. I spoke to a couple of homeless guys, especially during this time. I see a lot of them. So when I give them something, I always ask them, like, don't y'all have any family around? And then he just immediately starts telling me about his background, about how he like never had family and he's been on the street since he was young. He doesn't know how he survived, how he's even there. I just told him, you survived because God loves you, man. That's why he's still here today. That's why we still giving you the little that we have, because God loves you, man. You should know that. So now, he told me that he never had a family. And the thing is, we might overlook these people. We judge them. We judge them too early. Because you see a homeless guy and you think, homeless people. We ask you something, you just want to like jump out of the way or something. Because like I've seen how a lot of people treat these guys like they're not human. And the thing is, that's wrong, because you had a family. You had a family. Maybe it was a loving and caring family. You have a family that like has been there for you. If you made it, you had a family that's been striving for you, praying for you. And like, unlike you who had that blessing, he didn't. I'm talking about there are guys who are sitting at their mom's house, don't have jobs, they're sobbing, crying, all that. But then they realize they're sitting at their mom's house. So the value of family is like your mom will never let you go, no matter how deep in a ditch you fall. Your family is there to hold on to you. When the whole world pushes you away, your family should be the one to pull you in. Now tell me, a homeless guy, which family will be there to pull him in when the world pushes him away? When the world pushes him away, he's going to end up on the street, learning things from the street, not like the life that we learned, the school, and don't do that. Him, when he got on the street, they do all the things. Like this guy was explaining to me, he fell into a drug addiction at a very young age because he was living on the streets. And like he said, at the time when he was doing it, he didn't even know it was wrong. I'm like, what? He said straight up, he didn't even know it was wrong when he was that young, because barely even went to school. I was surprised he knew English. He said he left school in about grade 4, but I was surprised he knew English. But then he said he was living with foster parents, and eventually they ditched him too. The thing is, we should value our families, guys. If you don't value your family, when they're no longer there, you're gonna feel it, because when they're no longer there, you will never ever have a moment with that person again. So you get that part. You grew up with this person, you love this person so much that sometimes life can make you think other things. Life can put things in your brain to say, my family is such a drag, or my family this, my family that. But you must realize that's your family. Those are people you grew up with. And those people are no longer around. You're going to feel it inside your heart to say, wow, I just lost my family. And now you're going to be like, you're thinking about all the memories when you were young, you end up in tears, depression hits, all of these things, because you never appreciated them while they were there. That's why we should love our families, guys. Another guy I spoke to told me that he was living with his mom, and his mom was like also poverty stricken. So what they did was they went and lived by his aunt's place, and then the mom had fallen sick while she was working at the place she was working, which is like it's like in a dusty environment. So I don't know, she had like chest problems now, so she fell sick. And he was very young, I think he was like 7 years old. When he was 8, his mom passed away, which was left alone with his aunt. And then he told me he was so much ill-treated by his aunt that he couldn't take it anymore, that he just had to go. And apparently she lived like very far from where I saw him. He has never been back to that area in years, you know. And he's a homeless guy. And it really hit me in the heart to think that family could treat you like this, you know. Sometimes you don't always expect the most from outside relatives, but I mean, like, your aunt is not that much of an outside relative. She should be closer because she's your mom's sister. But then clearly her and the mom were not on good terms before the mom died, so she mistreated the son, blaming the son for what the mom did, which is wrong, of course. So he went and now he's homeless. So these stories, you know, they hit me, you know, as a person, because what if it could have been me? You know, it could have been me. It could have been anyone. It could have been you listening right now. This is why we should appreciate, no matter how bad things get, we should appreciate our families first, you know. God, then your family. You must know that always, God, then your family. Besides the world is there, but it's God, then your family, because those are the people that love you more than anyone in the world. Believe me, if you grew up with them, yeah, they love you, trust me. And they can also be your downfall. You should know that too. Because as I told you, I heard the guy's story, a couple of guys' stories, you know, and yeah, a lot, it's been a downfall. I've heard of one guy of mine, a friend of mine in high school. What happened was his dad was still alive, so his dad was like a rich businessman. And then one day the dad passed away. So what happened was he was living with the mom. The mom was not on good terms with the dad's family. So the dad's family came and they took all the dad's property, his investments, his money, his cars. They just left him with the house. And like, the son was still in high school. And that time I saw how much it hit him, that he had lost his dad, and he was no longer in the will of his dad because of the family. The family of his father just came and took everything, even though they were never there. So it's like, wow, they are like causing the downfall of this young man. But then one thing I realized is that God brought them through, because like, they're God-fearing people. They're always going to church and everything. God brought them through. Today he plays basketball for one of the biggest universities in South Africa, Wits. Yes, University of Witwatersrand. He plays basketball for Witwatersrand, and like, he pushed through. Like, I couldn't believe it, but I was like, man, you're strong, man. And he told us the story, you know. He told us when it was happening, everything. He told us, because he went, he attended his dad's funeral, came back, and that's when all of this happened. So I felt when this, I was like, sometimes family. But then the good thing is, he still had his mom, and his mom rose again, you know. Somehow I feel like the dad, you know, just was there for them all the way in spirit. He never let his family down, and I thank God for that he could just bless them all over and over again. So family can be your downfall, and family can be your rise. You see, one of the two. But then the thing is, the value of family is a lot, you see. So it can be a little value and it can be a lot of value to your life. And me personally, it's a lot of value. You see, they've added a lot of value to my life. The reason, you know, I'm a well-mannered person at all times. I don't even get angry a lot. And this is through family, you know. My mom taught me practically everything I know about self-respect. You gotta respect yourself before you can respect others. If you don't respect yourself, how are you gonna respect others? And this is the purpose of family. Family is there to teach you. You can't turn your back on family because of hormones. You know, when you're a teenager, you just wanna do things your way. And that's not the way life is. Life will hit you bad if you do it that way, because you're doing life unaware and your family is aware. They're there to tell you, but you never want to listen. So please, you should take this opportunity to listen. And if you don't know how, first thing to do, get to God. You gotta get to God in order to find a way. If you feel like you can't relate to your relatives, then you gotta go to God, because clearly something is wrong and you are unaware of it. So you gotta go to God. God shall lead your path. Straight up, God will lead your path and show you a way. And I promise you, things will change. Things will change. Like, God is a God of miracles. Trust me. God is a wonderful God. God does the impossible. He's the reason we believe every day. Like, I have so much faith that God can cure anything that the world throws against us. And I trust that He will cure what the world has thrown against us. And that's in Jesus' name, amen. So now, guys, that was just me telling you about how to value your family, and that family is a really big and important role in your life, and that you should know that's one of the most valuable deeds in your life. And many people, whether rich or poor, if you're rich and you don't have a family, you're rich and miserable, because trust me, family is where your joy is. If you don't have a family, even adopt a family. I mean, if you're rich, you don't have a family, go adopt 5 kids. And if you have a family and you have 12 kids, give 3 to someone who doesn't have. I'm just kidding. Anyway, guys, that was it from me about family values. And we are almost at the end of the show, but I'm not just gonna let you go.
Hi, this is Pastor Mike Sadie from Hillsong Church in Pretoria, and you're listening to Active FM, where Christ's music is hot music.
Rapid Trade is passionate about mobility and solutions that make a difference in your business. From mobile sales and sales management to van sales and proof of delivery. For a demo, call Rapid Trade on 011-493-9755. Rapid Trade, ahead of the game.
Welcome back, and we're almost at the end of the show. It was nice having you guys once again. I always enjoy every moment that I spend with y'all, and I hope you took some valuable points about family right there, because family is a big role in your life, guys. So now, where you can find us on Active FM, you know what I'm saying? You can find us at Instagram at ActiveFM777, Facebook /ActiveFM777, Twitter at ActiveFM. You can catch us on our website at www.activefm.co.za. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, TikTok. Yes, and we also have our new website, which I just did tell you, but there's a new website, www.activefm.co.za, so go straight there if you seem lost. Ladies and gentlemen, from me, your host, DJ PJ, peace out and God bless.
Active FM. Radio has never been better.